got my solar panels up. They're 160 watt each, 9 point, so almost 10 volts or 10 amps. And I got most of my hardware. I'll give a list of everything. But I got these brackets from Lowe's Home Improvement, and I just kind of retrofitted them. They're actually another bracket that came to the other side like that. They were a mirror image, and I got to put a screw in there. Shoot. And I just cut them to fit. And we had some extra. We did a metal roof a while back, so we had these extra rubber garments and some regular screws, and I just retrofitted them with these galvanized screws. But I tested them recently. It was kicking almost 9 point something amps. And I'm going to parallel them together, put them in. Let's see. Yeah, so that's kind of how I did it. I'm going to give a list of everything. There's a recycle place, metal recycle place down the road where I got these. I don't know what you call them, L channels or something. I'll put a list on it, and then I got Z brackets and screwed them into that. They're on there pretty good, pretty stout. So, and then I drove the wires into a solar vent right there. So I'm drilling holes in my house. I'm just going to come on down, and that's about it, really. So I'll let you know how the rest of it works. I got the solar tubes too. I love these things. These things are great. Alright, I'm going to finish up. Thanks. Hey, here's my my solar battery powered system. It's kind of like a backup generator that I created, and I want to do a quick video on it. I've done multiple videos. I can't seem to get it right for many reasons. I will keep it to myself. Anyway, so this is some batteries I got from a scrap metal place that were maintained really well. They're UPS batteries. Those are 50 amp hours each, so I got 400 amp hours of power here. I actually got some of the battery cables from there for like $3 a piece, so these are 35 each. We've got about 300 in this right here. And then I recently got a modified sine wave inverter that I attached here that I'm getting ready to send back. Modified sine wave, which I just showed on a previous video, is not the way to go. So I'm getting ready to send that back. I finally got the company to agree to do a refund after a very stressful situation that I'll keep to myself here. Anyways, take a deep breath on that situation. But, you know, I was going to do some videos, kind of explain everything, and I kind of got an idea why a lot of people probably don't do that. It just seems like this stuff's so complicated. Really, you should consult a professional or do your own research. That's what it comes down to, because this stuff is so complicated. You know, you have to have these wires have to be the right size. You have to. This is a parallel and series situation into 24 volts. You have to have a certain size wires at a certain distance, and there's just so much information out there. You really got to do your own research, and I don't know. I'll probably put that stuff up in the future on Solar Service Guy, but right now I'm just going to do this quick video. I Romaxed in to my house right to here, as you can see from the other video, coming into a GFI in the next room. I'm going to be getting a pure sine wave inverter, which won't need the ground wire, but I do have a ground wire for this one because these weren't GFI receptacles. And right now, it is about 11 o'clock in North Carolina in the end of July of 2015, and I ran this pretty good yesterday for, I would say, well, 6 hours at about 200 watts, and I'm already back up. The sun just started shining on my solar panels. It started shining about 10:30, and I'm already back up to 26, so I barely even drained it, but it's not. What this will do when they actually do power up real well is that will actually dump. This is a Coleman Air 440 HVA, and the way these work is they're industrial strength. You can see them all over on the internet. They got 12, 24, and 48 volt systems that you can set. And you set the dump low. When that reaches 28.8 at a discharge, it actually goes into what is called a grid tie inverter, which is this right here, which I have unplugged right now because that was another issue of miscommunication with the people that we're working with. Is there's a lot of videos out there telling you, oh yeah, go get these grid ties, buy this unit, dump back if your battery's overcharged, if you're not using that power, and you get that power going back into your house and turns your meter back and all that. That's so untrue. What I found out was the opposite. I got charged for it because the company doesn't see it that way until you do what's called an interconnection with them, which is a lot of work. It's an application you have to fill out. You have to give them schematics. You have to have, actually this isn't even a certified grid tie. You have to buy another grid tie, from what I heard, a cheap one that is certified, and then put this one back or whatever, I don't know, and then get it approved. You have to have an electrician come in. There's a lot of work involved, so if you're doing that and you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to go get one and plug it into my wall socket and I'm good to go, well, you're going to be sadly mistaken when you get your bill and find out, oh, by the way, you know, you needed to do an interconnection, which is about $300 to $400 to get that all done. That being said, it's disconnected, and then, you know, with the solar, this is a wind and solar HVA charge controller, and right now I just have solar going into it, which can dump without a dump bar. Now, if you do wind, you have to have a dump bar to resist that power somewhere. So that's where it was plugged. I'm just letting it dump. And in the meantime, I did actually do 2 GFI, a new outlet going to my breaker. I actually did 20 amp. I actually did the yellow Romax wire, which is 20 amp. And that's just one dedicated leg, and can't really use it except for power down there to my salt water, which I think that's a big problem having salt that close, but you know, like I said, this is like $200-300 so it's an experimental thing. Anyway, so let me get to the meat of this. Right now I have almost peak sun. I'm at 6, you know, whatever amps there, which equals out 6 divided by the amps. 24 volts will give you watts, so it's probably about 150 watts. I have two 160 watt each panels on my roof, so I have 320 watts, but I gotta check my wiring. I just realized this is an issue. I'm not getting but 200 watts coming in at full peak. So, you know, it could be my wiring. They say the longer your wires are, you know, you lose, but I can't believe I'm losing, you know, 120 watts somewhere. I've tried to contact your manufacturer, which is another issue in itself. That is another learning experience, buying a system online, which I'm sure you've seen. Kind of looks like one of these. And it comes with a wind turbine and 2 solar panels. And the problem with this thing is it's only 10 amps. Well, the system they sell is all together, packaged together, is well over 10 amps. Matter of fact, those 2 panels, I actually series them together to make 24 volts, which should only still be like 10 amps. I'm thinking, actually, no, it should be more than that, because it jumped up. I have a picture, 10.6, and that would have blown that charge controller that they give you in that package. And I've mentioned it to them, and they're still selling it left and right on eBay. And I imagine, you know, a lot of people aren't even putting it together, and the wind turbine doesn't even work in my environment because it has to be 15 to 20 mile-an-hour winds. And in North Carolina, as you can see, we never get wind. In the summer, you might as well forget about it. You know, you're talking about making wind, we don't get it. I barely get 5 miles an hour. So I did keep the panels. I was able to return the wind turbine and just keep the panels in this. And I'll use this for maybe my shed, something really cheesy, but never would I put wind, solar, and everything and depend on this charge controller not faulting out with that kind of power. There's no way. So, you know, if you're going to do things, definitely overcompensate, which, you know, that's good for 10,000 watts or 440 amps, and it's pretty well known amongst the industry as being one of the most dependable charge controllers out there, but it does have its moments. It does get a little sticky on me. I do have to like readjust if she's been sitting for a while in the adjustment screw. The relay kind of sticks at times, which I called the manufacturer or the people that sold it to me, and they're telling me just tap on it like those old relays that they had in the car. And anyways, had to redo pretty much the starter manual up again, take the trip knob over to the left, and then bring it back a couple times to kind of get it to start working properly, and now it will dump properly, which you can see it's at 26.2. I don't know if I'm going to get overcharged, you know, by using the power. It's like evening out. So this time I just want to stress that if you're going to do this, it costs money. You're going to end up just replacing everything in the future. Just save up at least like $2, $3 to $5 grand if you really want to do anything. That's just the way it goes. If you want to, you know, half-ass it, then you're just going to end up replacing everything and going to have to just buy again. I don't even know why people only sell anything that's junk out there. Just try to get all good stuff and don't even think about buying anything that's junk, because you're just going to replace it or it's going to fault out and you're going to cause a fire or something like that. But that's just my opinion. In the meantime, right now I have only about 150 watts coming in. So I was using about 200 watts yesterday night, and I used some of it yesterday, which I was kicking almost 182, about 200 watts coming in, so it was almost even Steven. So that's not too bad. I used as much as coming in, so that's why she's not climbing, but it is recharging my batteries, and it's only been like an hour, and I'm at 26, which per this diagram, 70%, I don't want to go anything lower than 23 volts. So I didn't even come close to it. I think I got down like 24.8 was the lowest I ever got on these after using them for a while. So for, you know, about $300 for all this, that's a pretty good deal. You know, I'm not expecting these batteries to last but maybe a couple more years if I get lucky, because they're already like maybe 4 or 5 years old. But, you know, it's a good starter for the price, because I know new, these high-max UPS batteries go between $200 to $300 new. So I feel like I did pretty good on that. And I'm actually going to plug that person in. She's Brittany over there in the Burlington Recycle Center. She still has some of these, and she gets them, and she's been super great, and she's been super awesome, giving me really good deals on things. In the meantime, I have everything powered up. I actually have my TV all set. I'm at 11-minute mark here. I'm going to try to make this under 15 minutes. So I'm going to turn this on, and you'll see it just jumped down. And now, right now, everything's turning on. My entertainment unit and a fan. About 200 watts is coming into my system right now, and that's why it jumped down to 26.1. So what the amount of power I got coming in right now is a little bit under than what I'm using, so that will actually go down. But other than that, it works well. But this modified is just not the right power for something like that. It was heating up my TV and my entertainment center. I actually pulled out a jet drive out of it, which I watch movies off of, and it was pretty darn hot. So I'm actually returning this. I barely used it, and in the meantime, I just wanted to show you. It is a nice unit. It's too bad. I like the way it's set up and everything. It fits real well, but unfortunately it's not a pure Sine. You know, for what it does, it worked. You know, the fan comes on and everything was working on it. It's just not producing the right power for me. In the meantime, hopefully the pure Sine fits well in here, because I built this shelf around that. So as you can see, it's going down. That will even out actually when I start to get more towards noon and 1 o'clock. So I could pretty much run this as long as the sun's kicking, which usually kicks for me to about 4:35. So you're looking at about 6 hours of using this, so it makes a good backup system. Again, if I had my pure Sine, I would like be with arms back, kicking it, man, and my lounge going on. I have no problem worrying about what's going on with my appliances, but matter of fact, I'm actually going to shut this off. I want trusted with that. So at this point, everything is good to go except for my inverter. Once I get the pure Sine, I will get Ames. Ames has a good reputation. I'd like to get Outback or something a little bit better, but in the meantime, this will do. So this is my system. 400 amp hour UPS batteries. I got my wiring all hooked up. I do have a disconnect, which definitely, if you're going to do the only thing I do agree about on the company that sold me stuff. It really stresses about, you know, doing the disconnect. You can disconnect, so the solar's disconnected, and then connect it back up. And that's the safest way to go and work on your system. But again, seek electrician and professional help. I'm no way in heck a contract licensed electrician or anything. I'm a do-it-yourselfer kind of guy. I would disconnect everything coming from this, because this has got some power coming to it. From your batteries to this situation right here is power that can really mess you up. So, you know, you definitely disconnect these cables, which are going down to the batteries, which, by the way, those are 4 gauge because of the distance, which is about 2 feet. Get rid of that. And then definitely put fuses in between. You know, the bar fuse is the big heavy-duty ones. I got one there. That actually, I need to change that out to 250. I'm not even using close to 100 amps, but if this thing ever did peak out, that would be the size, which after I go and exchange this out, these are useless to me now too, but it's another story. In the meantime, now jump back to 26.2 because that's turned off. So, but definitely go big, you know, get something that you can expand. And now at this point, once I get the inverter, it's just a matter of putting more panels on my house to catch up to the power I'm using, and then add more batteries, and that's what it comes down to. Everything else is good to go. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.
Show you an upgrade I made. I'm actually going to make a cabinet for this, and I found this fiberglass, which I heard I have to reconfirm that acid can't eat away at that. So I found this. I got lucky at a restore for $5. And it's housing all my batteries, and I actually got 2 more batteries, put me up to 500 amp hours. So I'm going to build a cabinet around this to kind of, you know, because this is pretty dangerous stuff right here. Without a doubt, you got to watch what you're doing. Any little spark at certain times can really set this thing off. But I wanted to show you guys something with this Coleman Air 440 HVA. I want you to watch. It's not at peak time for me right now, and I have it on no load. As you can see, I'm waiting for my pure sine inverter, and I don't have my grid tied because I'm waiting for the interconnection to get done with Duke Power. But as you can see, these things are kind of dangerous. See it going up with no load on this. It will continue to climb, and I don't want to overcharge these batteries, of course. That's pretty stupid common sense to think of doing that. So I've talked to the people I bought it off of. They're going to remain nameless at this point because I've had a lot of trouble with them. As you can see, the tape's over their name, and they actually told me, I'll open this up and I want you to show you this. It'll actually go up. It was dumping or discharging, or this is actually a dump charge. When the grid tie is hooked up, I actually dump going to my a leg I made that goes to my meter. My meter has charged back, but until I get the application done right, I can't do it, so I got it disconnected. So right now I have it on no charge. But as you watch, it keeps going up a little bit more. It was at 28.1 when it first started dumping. And it goes up to like 30, 31 at one time. This 24 volt system. This scared me. So they actually told me this is a Holt solenoid. Remember those old cars? Well, some of you might remember the cars back in the day had these solenoids. They just go back and forth. And then if you look, you can barely see on these HVAs a really small, that blue box right there, and you adjust that to get it to dump. And this is the inside of it. Sorry, I'm moving the phone around trying to do both. Well, I am letting it charge this morning. It's at like 10:45 North Carolina. But when these don't have a load on them, when they're free floating, whoop, sorry, hit that. Okay. They're free floating. They're supposed to free float between 13.5 and 13.8. So You know, that's way too high for these to be, you know, charging up. If they get up to 30, it's actually being really good today so far. But when I start to get up to peak time, around noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, this thing just cranks up to 30. Which, as you know, it's a little bit too high. That's like 15. That's nowhere near, 15 volts is nowhere near the float charge I'm supposed to be having on it. The manual does recommend let's see right there, 14.2, so about 28.4 recommended dump, and that's usually where I like to have it, and that's where I did have it this morning, and that's where it has been doing. As you can see, watch. That was a good one. But sometimes, when, like I said, when we get up to a little bit more peak sun, this thing will actually dump a little bit sooner than, or a little bit later than I like. I just don't want to take a chance of blowing up a battery, because, as you know, that's a really, really bad thing. So, but in the meantime, I'll keep my eye on it. I was going to let it just kind of charge up. I mean, these are charged, they're good to go, but for a charge controller, I'm supposed to leave this thing on it all the time. But when I talked to the guy, said it's 28.3, they were saying you might want to tap that solenoid. I thought that was kind of lame, but also, you know, you got to have it on a load, really. Yeah, that's probably true. You know, I can kind of relate to that. But if I wanted to actually trickle charge these batteries and not put it on a load, you know, I would not even consider that unit right there. After my experience, I would go with something a little bit more, not dump, just kind of charge and then free float, come down, go up. 28.3. It's doing really good today. I'm actually impressed, but like I said, well, I'll come back and show you like 1 o'clock, and you'll see the big difference. But in the meantime, I'm waiting to put this cabinet together. I'm going to build a cabinet with a lid. I'm going to take a vent tube out and up. I'm actually going to hook a little fan here to kind of cycle to get the gases out. Because sometimes I come in here and I can smell them. There's no doubt. And with that hot water heater right next to it, and that going off, a little spark, you know, that's like a time bomb waiting to happen. And then I'm waiting for Orange County to come in here and inspect this place, which that should be interesting in itself. So, and also I noticed sometimes this thing will stay in dump mode for a while. Even though I don't have an extended mode, it'll dump for a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Anyways, what's up, Jack? Alright, I'll talk to you later.
Solar service guy here. So it is October 16th, 2015, about 1 o'clock. That tree's coming down, it's shading right in my backyard. I've already taken all these trees down. Over 100 trees on my property. Just at one time, everything came right to my shed. And this is open. The problem is the sun is literally over in the distance. Well, it's cloudy today. That's causing me 3 hours of problem right there. So I just wanted to show you, as you know, there's my solar panels up there. I'm only getting about 200 watts out of them because the angle and the sun just, with that, I got a guy you can see has been working on it. As soon as that thing's done, I'll have more sun. So, sorry for the darkness. Got my little lamps here. They've been kicking these 0.3 watt LED motion lights. They pretty much stay on all the time. So I got my system. I got my new battery case. I got my Ames Pure Sine 3000 watt inverter. And I got my Coleman Air HVA 440 10,000 watt, or C440. This is a pretty good system I'm at. I'm not getting anything today. Usually I get, these are mono crystal solar panels compared to poly that actually are supposed to produce more power in cloudy days. So I usually get about 1 or 2 amps. But because that tree's right there and it's 1 o'clock, it's blocking my sun, so I'm not really getting nothing. I'm at 25.1. The way I figured everything, you see you scratched out a couple times, had to refigure it. There's a lot of discrepancies on the net. Don't want to go below 12.36 12 volt system or 24 volt mine. Don't want to go any lower than 24/7. So I'm at 25.1 right now. I got this little meter. I'm going to hook up, put it in my phone so I can kind of see what's going on, because it's hard to regulate. You just kind of got to get a feel for your system. So this is off right now. This is one leg that's running to my kitchen, which runs to a GFI. This is a GFI that runs to an outlet in the front room of the entertainment unit. You can't run these a GFI to GFI will trip, so make sure this goes to an outlet because it's already a GFI. And then this, of course, is to a GFI. So right now it's off. I'm going to turn it on. And it drops down to 25. You can't hear it, but there's a little bit of a buzz. That's normal. Let me go and show you. I'll turn on my entertainment unit. Which today is just, well, lately in my light. I got one of those little 2-watt LEDs, a new light bulb. It's supposed to equal 60 watts. It doesn't. But she's powering up. This whole system is probably about 100 watts. That's without the entertainment unit on. Probably add another 30, 40 watts for that. So this is a pretty big TV. So I got this outlet right here. Let me try to find my battery flashlight. This right here is to my solar, and that right there is to the grid. So I just kind of unplugged the two. I ran those underneath my house, and then there's 2 back here. You can kind of see them. Move this out of the way. There's a GFI. You can see the light on. There's a GFI that runs to the solar, then there's, right now, it's plugged into the grid. So if I needed to, I could hook this into it if I could run it. So she's powered up. It's really not dark. It's just this phone doesn't work too well, camera. I'm right at 24/7. So today's really not a good day to run. Haven't had any sun to recharge, and now it's almost winter. I haven't, in that tree, not enough solar panels, and the batteries, which I'm going to show you. As you've seen, got my case here. I'll do this without dropping this and breaking my foot. It's a pretty stout system here. So what I'll show you is I actually had, see that, that's incorrect. It's actually, I got it labeled wrong. That is actually in neutral, for sure. Yeah, that's a neutral wire. I actually had them in the front over here. I had the power on the one battery over here and the negative over here, right in this area. And I found out I really needed to run this back here to kind of loop it around. So the negative is right here, the positive is right here, which, you know, creates that series within the batteries, and they're all connected right here. That's a pretty stout wire that I picked up at the scrapyard. It's like a 1/0. And of course I got my 200 amps. I forget what my calculations were on that. It's too long ago, but that's just right for my system, the amount of power I got coming in. Got lots of extra stuff on that. I live and learned on that one. You might as well just buy different fuses. So I'm pretty happy with it. 24/6, time to turn her off. Absolutely no power coming in. I'm really surprised. I was hoping to show you a little bit of power in the shade. I actually, like I said, if that tree wasn't there, I would have it. So I'm going to go and shut my TV off. I don't want to kill. I could probably kill the power from, and I use this on a static or a power strip. I could probably kill it, the power there from the inverter, but I don't really want to do that. Here's my little kilowatt meter that I use to kind of go around the house and figure out what everything runs at. I think that's the most accurate way to do it instead of the manufacturer. I just plug it up, let it run a day, and then figure it out how many amp hours or watts it's using. So jump back 24/7. Shut this off. Kind of weird how it shuts off. I've been really happy with this. So I put the whole system together. It took me a while. This battery case was, I got this at a restore. I think I said that. And I just kind of, it was a big lid to a office table or something, and just made a case out of it. I made this whole system here. I got extra batteries down there. One runs my gold cube, my gold banker for gold prospecting. That's what I like to do. But I hooked all this up: the water softener, the piping, the energy efficient water hot water heater. I put that in. I really love these shark bites. These things are great for that stuff. So this is my power room, and then I cracked this window when I'm charging the batteries to kind of give that oxygen in here it needs, so nothing goes wrong. Actually, here's some LEDs that I picked up recently. Lowe's was selling 6 bulbs. They're pretty good. 5.5 watts is supposed to equal, I think, 40 watts. Yeah, they're about right. These are pretty cool. I think it was like $10 for the whole thing. I'm slowly trying to, continue to switch out. These were 13 equals 60. Every chance I get, I keep trying to reduce my power income, or how much power I'm using. But I've been really happy with everything. I got it all squared away. I wish I had better batteries, more panels, and better sun. I could run my fridge then, and that's my next step. I need 6 more panels, and I'll probably get rid of these batteries next year, depending on how well the extra panels do, and getting rid of that tree. Getting some consistent sun should be interesting next year. I'm hoping to get my interconnection done, which the grid tie is sitting on the shelf right now, not charging back, which is a bummer, because there's some days I do get some discharge, and that would be great once I get that done. So I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, I'm back. So just a half an hour ago, I was videoing that I didn't have any sun. Well, we finally got sun, so definitely 7.8 amps, 26 volts. So I'm going to let this thing kind of charge up a little bit for a couple hours before I start pulling any power out of it. But it feels good to finally get some power generating back into the battery bank. So it's going to take a little bit for it to really power back up. It was at 25.5 just 20 minutes ago, and it'll start to get up to like 26.5, and then it'll start dumping. It'll shoot back up pretty quickly. I'm thinking about an hour or two, and then my battery bank and everything will be operational again. I think after running it solid for about a week or so, I think this battery bank's going to last a little bit longer, because I calculated 20, it's supposed to be, I'm running about 400 watts, using up 350 amp hours, but it's a 500 amp hour system, but you got to calculate for the 70%, which equals you don't want to use more than 350 amp hours. And I only got probably 10-12 hours out of that, mainly because the system just got installed and the batteries. Sorry about this camera. Let me try to wipe it down. This camera just got this new Galaxy. I'm not real happy with the camera. There we go, a little bit better. So the battery bank probably needs to get, the juices need to be flowing back into it to get these batteries charged up a little bit, and they just might not perform, to the full capacity. So right now they're only performing to half what I've calculated, amp hours and so forth for the amount of watts I'm drawing. I figured about between 200 to 400 watts, and I got an app and it calculates it out, and that should have been like 21 to 26 hours of use before I even come close to getting past that, and I only used it maybe 12 hours and it was coming down. So this will be interesting to see. Thanks for watching my videos.
And that light on here, 380 kilowatts went back in my system here. 0.08 kilowatts per hour I'm feeding back. There's an hour. Right now it's not dumping. 7 amps coming in, it's going to recharge. I'll come back when I show you how it works.